Wait, I think my lighting is up super too bright. Thank you, Jesus. Hi, guys. Today we are embarking on a magical new adventure, starting a new little series I'm hoping to be doing in the future. Sort of taking a retrospective look at videos I've released about a week after they come out. I want to talk about my additional thoughts on the films that I covered in them, give some thoughts on my analysis, and specifically what I would have liked to include in the video, but just couldn't find a place for. So yeah, that's basically what this is. I plan to do more stuff like this in the future with future videos. I've already, gotten working on follow-up videos for a few that I'm about to release. So yeah, but today we are going to be talking about my recent video on bodies. One that, bear with me, I wrote the script for like a year ago. So obviously it's a little bit fuzzy when it comes to the additional thoughts and the whole creative process behind it, but I still did want to make like a follow-up video for the bodies video because I am very proud of it. So we can get right into it with the additional information that I couldn't fit into the script. And first on the list of additional things I wanted to talk about is the casting of Pete Davidson. I think it's so interesting to cast Pete Davidson in this film in the role he was cast in, because I think it really plays on a lot of preconceptions we have about Pete Davidson as a person, in a really interesting way. Two things about Pete Davidson. One is that he's a comedian. He's funny. I guess that's subjective for some people. I think he's kind of funny. He's a comedian. And two, people will tell you that they don't like Pete Davidson. He's a very contentious figure, I think, because a lot of people resent him for dating literally every woman ever, which I get that. But I think this whole idea that Pete Davidson is a comedic actor first and foremost, and then also a lot of people secretly kind of hate him, really plays to the favor of bodies. And I have to imagine it was intentional because, of course, you have a subversion of Pete Davidson's character towards the start of the film where he comes on as this very laid back comedic type guy and then reveals himself to be very aggressive right before his ultimate demise. And I think that's great. We kind of are like, oh, like, who is this? Like, you think you know him, then you realize you kind of don't. And I think that's a great subversion. Very, very effective, especially when I first saw this film. I was kind of surprised at how threatening Pete Davidson really was in this, because he does come off as fairly threatening. And then that perfectly leads into the second thing I think a lot of people think about Pete Davidson, that they secretly don't like him. And I think that comes into play when you have Pete basically pass away first in the film, setting in motion the chain of events that takes place afterwards. Of course, this is right after he gets all aggressive. And I think, honestly, if you're like me, you're kind of expecting that Pete Davidson's character is behind all of this. I had assumed when I first watched this film that he had faked his death and he was going to come out like, hey, I've been the villain all along, which just isn't the case. It's a lot funnier than that, the twist ending that we get. But I had really expected something different. And I think that's because, deep down, I'm kind of like, oh yeah, Pete Davidson, probably up to no good. Okay, moving on. The other thing I wanted to talk about with additional thoughts, I would have loved to put this in the video, but I just could not for the life of me find a good place to put it in. Yeah, second thing I wanted to talk about was the house in this film, how it feels so big and kind of, big word, labyrinthian. I think it's impossible to get the layout of the house in this film, which really does ramp up the scares. And I think it also stops the movie from ever feeling boring or like it's stuck in the same place for too long. This is a very fast-paced film, and I think it has a good movement and energy behind it. But at a certain point, I think when you're filming in a house, it can become stale. And the way that this movie avoided that, in my eyes, is absolutely through making sure that we never know where we are in the house. I'm sure certain rooms get reused multiple times, but just given the fact of how confusing and big this house is, and also the fact that this entire film is shot in like pitch dark, it makes it really impossible to figure out where you are. And so every single scene feels like it's taking place in a new location. This house feels like 5 times bigger than it actually is. And I think that absolutely works the advantage of the film. It feels genuinely kind of scary in a sense. And talking about, this being shot in complete darkness, I think the lighting here is really impressive. Probably one of the most impressive components of the entire movie. Of course, just on a technical level, it's really impressive that they're able to make this film so clear when, again, it is shot in majority darkness. I was never questioning, like, where is a certain character in the scene? Like, I was never questioning what they were doing because it was all so well lit, but it still felt very dark. And you get the feeling that these characters are really like, just scrounging around trying to find each other for most of the film. But on a more like personal character level, the lighting is also really interesting. This is one of the main things that you'll hear people talk about when they talk about bodies, 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 that a lot of the characters in the film kind of light a scene with, the very tactile lighting on their body in a way that reflects their personalities. So, for instance, Jordan, kind of a leader, very confident and in charge person, lights a scene with her headlamp, which kind of, speaks to that very, forward motion, in charge kind of mindset that she has. Alice, the party girl, lights the scene, of course, with glow sticks, reflecting her very off the wall and colorful personality and also her kind of unseriousness in this whole situation. And then, while it might not be as obvious, Lee Pace's character, like the older guy in the film, has this scene right before he, of course, meets his end, where he's bathed in this red light and like his therapy, goggles or whatever. And it really does kind of convey how much of a threat he is to the girls that lead this film, because he is, of course, a very big man, and they assume him to be, the one picking them off one by one. So it does do a great job of establishing the threat in that scene. And it's just another example of how the lighting here is masterfully executed and really taps into the personalities of these characters on a deep and very effective level. I also want to stress Rachel Sennett here is amazing. If the lasting legacy of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies is Rachel Sennett's career kind of taking off, I think that's perfectly fine. So I really did want to shout her out more in the video. Maybe I didn't really do enough justice to Alice as a character, but yes, all her lines are so funny. She is such an entertaining character. I love her to death. And then lastly, I just want to mention a weird coincidence. Actually, the day that I'm recording this, I was walking on my college campus earlier, and I'll probably flash a picture of it up on the screen right now. But I saw that my college is doing a showing of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies like next week. So, what are the odds? Like, weird. I think the world is a simulation more and more every single day. But yeah, so those are my additional thoughts. And now we can get into the segment of the video where I talk a little bit more about the whole creative process and how I made this one. Whew, I am like running out of breath. I am not meant to talk this long. Okay, the behind the scenes details. First off, most interesting one. Like I already mentioned, I wrote the script for this video back in 2023, which at time of recording, like a long time ago, y'all, almost over 6 months easily, getting kind of close to a year. That's basically just because, other projects came in the way. I had to do the Adventure Time ranking video, which took months of my life. And then, of course, in the middle of that, I did the Fiona and Cake review videos, which were very time-based. And so I kind of had to do those when I did. And in the process, the Bodies video got kind of lost for a bit. Not literally, but it just got kind of put on the back burner. But in the long term, I think that was really for the best, because coming back to it when I did, it served as a really great introduction for this kind of 3.0 era of my channel that I'm trying to start now. This whole 3.0 era is really defined by, I think, a special focus on aesthetics, on, competent editing, on great audio, on really professional videos that are a bit shorter than the very long and kind of, I guess, a little bit cluttered videos that I usually make, which are still very fun to create, but just don't pack as much of a punch as I would like my videos to, and don't really come together as succinctly or neatly as I really want my new content to do. And the body script was perfect for that. It was a very well written script, and it's one that I've of course have had months to look at time and time again and really make sure I'm happy with. And so it was a great script to start off this new era with. So I'm actually, and honestly, really happy that I did put that one on the back burner when I did, because it's really helped me figure out like where I want to go with this channel, at least for the next few months. And yeah, just to see where that goes. More videos like the Bodies video coming in the future. Hold me to it. I already have 2 scripts written and recorded audio wise, just waiting to be edited, that are in the same vein. So, get excited. I think another big component of this whole 3.0 era that I'm starting is absolutely going to be challenging myself on every single video, trying to do something different every single time I create something, just to hone my artistic talents and really contribute to doing something special on this platform, like I kind of talked about in the video I made not too long ago about, creative limbo and feeling a bit stuck. So one of the main ways I challenged myself in this video was trying to export in 4K. I don't know if y'all noticed, but the Bodies video is in 4K. I do have Bodies on 4K video, but when I uploaded the footage, I originally didn't know I was going to do it in 4K. So it was in 1080p. And I ended up exporting it at a higher bitrate. Sorry if this is really nerdy, but I was kind of nervous that that would make the video look terrible. It did not. For those of you who don't know, YouTube really does lower its processing speed and bitrate for videos that are 1080p. And so uploading in 4K, even with a 1080p video, can usually make your video look a lot better. So one of my big lessons from this video is that, sometimes you kind of have to do something not super like professional. You have to take some shortcuts. You have to try to just figure stuff out, even if it's not perfect, even if this video isn't truly 4K. I think it looks better than it would in 1080p. So valuable lesson learned. I'm probably going to continue to do that in the future, just because a 4K video is kind of hard to find. It's also very expensive a lot of the time. And a lot of the films I own are on Blu-ray, but as long as the footage looks good in a 4K export, I'm going to be happy. Another way I challenged myself and did something different for this video was really focusing on my audio. Normally, I just kind of record my audio. I don't think I have the greatest voice for YouTube. So I've kind of just made peace that I'm never really going to be satisfied with my audio all the way. But this time I really did try to make it more professional and sound clearer. One of the main ways I did that was by cutting down on echo. I don't have soundproof like little panels or anything, but I put a blanket down under my microphone, which is a very cheap, cost-effective solution to echo. I feel like it helped with the audio of my video, so take notes, you creatives out there. Things can be done cheaply. And then I also improved on my audio by just increasing the amount of takes I did of all my audio lines. I know it's very tedious to do extra takes. It's also a bitch to edit. But I think it honestly really does contribute to the quality of your video. Maybe you have a line where you really delivered it well, but you hit, one word way too hard, or you did a plosive with the heavy P sound and it really messed up the audio, made it sound bad. And so having more takes in that situation is really needed, even if they're a little bit less fun on the delivery side. So I think this time I really did experiment with doing extra takes and doing takes in a way that, every single take sounded different. Every single take was a different approach to sounding good on the microphone. And, it's not perfect, but we're working on it. I'm trying to get better as a voiceover person, someone who narrates videos. And I hope the change in the audio really did show in this Bodies video. And finally, probably the biggest change to my normal video content is that for this video, I included no music. Now, if you know my channel and you know my videos, I usually put music in them, some type of music, usually like hip hop or R&B. And yeah, I love adding music to my videos. I think it makes them very, very colorful and fun. However, I really am getting tired of adding music. I don't have any like music, copyright-free music software. So me finding music that I can use as background music in YouTube involves me going on, YouTube itself and searching for like copyright free type beats. Y'all don't know this, but my camera just died, so I'm gonna wrap this up real fast. Anyway, music, very frustrating to get it off YouTube. I'm living in constant fear that, the music I choose is going to be marked one day as non-copyright free, and that's terrifying. So yeah, I'm cutting out music, taking from the Thomas Flight School. I don't know if y'all know him. He's a very popular YouTuber on here. But from the Thomas Flight School of not using music and really just focusing on making my audio great and intersplicing some clips from movies to make sure that the video feels very sonically complete. So I'm going to be moving forward with that in the future. Expect a lot less background music on future videos. I think it just makes them more professional, and I think I've found a good little aesthetic to follow with it, a good little niche to sit in. Anyway, yeah, so those are all my additional thoughts on the Bodies, Bodies, Bodies video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope this was insightful. I plan to do more videos in this series going forward. And yeah, if you guys have watched the Bodies video, thank you. It was really one that I focused very hard on and wanted to do something special with. So I appreciate the support. Yeah, and until next time, bye.